Just thought I'd change some scenery and just show you that being a gear reviewer means there's always some kind of stuff on your patio that you're drying out that you've tested over the weekend. I want to talk about content and style. This is the one area where I want to give you as little guidance as possible with the content and style that you need in order to rank well on Google. Because everybody has their own individual flair, and actually I think that's one of the great parts of people's blogs generally, is that you can kind of feel the personality coming through. However, there are a couple of general rules that I would give you as an outline. The first one is to try and keep the paragraphs relatively short. I usually do sort of sentences at the most, and I usually don't let any blog go for more than 3 paragraphs before I've dropped some kind of photo, some kind of video into it, because otherwise users can start, or readers can start to look at a sea of words and just think, I'm not interested. I'll talk about subheadings in a separate little video. But then there are 2 other little bits I want to talk about with content and style. The first one is, I think it's important when you write a blog that you write things like, I found that this tarp is excellent because, or I found the tarp was really waterproof, or I liked the little bits, the pegs in the corners that you could peg down that came with it. When I think you write in a style that says the MSR tarp comes with a da-da-da-da system which includes an integral safety strap, what happens is your blog then becomes a sales article, and I think subconsciously readers sense that and switch off to your blog because they just feel like you've been paid to write it. So I think when you write genuinely and say, I found this, and sometimes I make a point of not even mentioning what the technical term is for something. I'll just explain it myself and say, I liked the pegs in the corner. They may call it the super red grass stick system. I just say, it's nice that it came with some pegs that pegged it down and they're lightweight. So I think that it comes across more genuine when you write that way. And I think that's quite important. And then the other thing I just want to add, and again, I'm not going to name and shame, but I actually read a blog from someone I know who wrote about a race recently, and it was either a rat race or a White Star event, and they wrote an incredibly long wordy blog which was, to be honest, just too much. And they talk about the trail, so it was, we ran up this hill, then at the top there was a view, then we ran down the next hill, and then at the thing we came to the coast, and we ran along the coast for 1.2 miles, and then at the end of the coast there was a seagull, and after that we went inland for 1 mile, and then there was a cornfield, and at the cornfield there was an aid station. And you can probably get a feeling very quickly for why readers just go, no. So here's the trick, I think, to writing an article that's either a race review or an article about some adventure. And I'm going to do this in a separate video when I write an article about me being on the Appalachian Trail. When I write this article about the Appalachian Trail, no one really cares that we went over Caleb's Point and that it was hard work for me to make my way up one of the mountains at Mount Shona, and that there was some rocks that were difficult to get over. These aren't exciting for most readers. What's exciting for most readers is getting the feelings and the emotions of either you or what other people had, and what you saw and what you learnt, what was new, what was your, if we talked about a movie, what's your character progression arc. So some of certainly the more recent articles I've written that are articles about stuff, you'll probably find at the end I've written something like, I learned something this weekend. What I saw this weekend was X or Y. My Mattabesett fastest known time article is quite good for that, because it would be easy for me to write an incredibly long blog about my nutrition strategy and what clothing I use to keep cool. Instead, if you read the Mattabesett blog instead, which ranks on page 1 of Google, you'll find what I've written is a story about a fantastic adventure with a lad that was quite young, whose father came along with us, and I watched a bonding between a father and a son who thought they couldn't run together, and as a result they now run together more. So actually that was the more interesting part of it. No one really cares where Pyramid Rock is and whether we turn left or right here or there. They want to hear about the funny stories, the kooky little moments, that kind of thing. So try and keep that in mind as well when you're writing a blog review, and that's about it. So I'm going to stop because it's been too long, and there you go.